Good evening. At last, we continue with the second and final part of our podcast that was held with our friends from Landing Pad server on the evening of March 23, 2023. So enjoy. Lake?
Okay, I have. Okay, can I can I explain this one?
Sure, but just wait. Don't take too long.
No. I'll make it simple. Well, as I mentioned, with the history and the different reigning kingdoms and so on, the Illuminati run the schools, like they run the government, they run the media, and so forth. So that's definitely infrastructure and useful infrastructure. So I have not been able to rise without participating in the game. I mean, I read The Economist. I studied in one of the colleges. I have held a job. I know what the modern world is. And they are having a supernatural argument about what direction the world should take. And as everybody was saying, the only standard at this point is magic. They're saying we are going to drive the world off a cliff as far as we are able, and the only way that something will stop us and that we will accept a guiding hand is when some other party steps in and causes a solar flare or something, and then we will know that our mandate is being challenged. So that's the difficulty between the nobody and the Illuminati, because technically, physically, I'm just this one guy, completely, just like millions of others, in as far as physical power or knowledge or family connections or whatnot. But the test is whether I can be a focus for people's attentions and for people's desires and use their imaginations to bring about something different. And that is going to make all the difference.
Okay. Dudanon, you've been quiet, so what is your opinion?
As far as I'm aware, when it comes to the nobody and the Illuminati, they, being the Illuminati, answer to higher powers and authorities that aren't exactly human. And the Illuminati and those powers got into a bit of a tug of war with the nobody, and it currently seems like the nobody is at odds with both of them to the point where there's going to be some judgment coming their way and they're going to lose a majority of their membership.
So you think there is a war between the Illuminati and the nobody?
Not a direct war, but definitely an indirect war where they witnessed some of the changes going on with their authority, power, and leadership, and they didn't think that it was possible outside of the paradigms of the systems they knew and understand. And when he came in with something beyond the scope of what they could conceive of and control, he challenged that, and then he backed it up in a way that they couldn't refute, and now they're dealing with the fallout of some uncontrollable power that they can't hope to understand, let alone stop.
What's the deal of that GOP thread about the Illuminati and the nobody that went thousands of pages? And I mean, that was a strange thread. Anything you want to say?
Are you talking about the offer that couldn't be refused?
Yeah.
That was part of a psychic communication that went on years ago between an indirect third party, the Illuminati, and obviously their non-human masters. And at the time, there was some fallout between the Woman of Scars, the Lady of Stars, and the Lady of Shadows, as well as the other supporting characters. And they were trying to mess with those vessels and the souls within. And nobody picked up on it and found out who was doing it at the time, worked out it, went back to them. And when they tried to intervene as being these benevolent beings that could, control and switch everything, at the flick of a wrist, he called them out on it and basically sent them a death threat in return because to this day, they still haven't fixed what they broke, and they're not being held accountable just for that problem, but for all the problems since their creation that they've had a hand in.
Okay. Anybody else wants to say something about the question about the thread about NGLP?
Oh, well, you say.
Okay.
Okay, so I wonder what year this thread was?
I'm not sure. Does anybody know?
2010, I believe.
I've heard the original GLP was 2010, 2011, at latest 2012. The anomaly
Around
thread.
there.
Yeah, the anomaly thread.
Okay, yeah, because there certainly was something like that going on. Trying to tie together a few threads. Well, yeah, but you know, the Illuminati have a big tradition of moving fast and breaking things, and then blaming others for all the disasters and making them pay for the harm that's being done to them. So never being straight with who gets the money and who gets the blame. And there has been some blowback because otherwise the world would be much farther along in their plan. We have had the technology for several decades. They could have instrumented it years ago, but they haven't been able to. So I'm sure something has intervened in their path and something is standing in their way and they know it.
It's true. That's true. And we had to do it down here. We had to do it with the military. They weren't doing jack shit.
Okay. Octane, you want to participate? Octane? Would you like to participate?
It's speaking in Morse code.
Do you want to? We would like to know who's. What? Carlos?
No, he's Brazilian.
Oh, so he doesn't understand. Stone
Oh, sorry, my microphone wasn't working. I'm sorry. I'm kind of new to all these things, so I just joined the voice chat because I want to hear you guys discussing the ideas, and maybe I hear something I didn't know. And today I learned a lot of things. So thank you for the invitation. But I'm still kind of new to this, so I can't really discuss anything. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Stoneman, we haven't heard about you. Stoneman?
I was just going to say,
Yes,
Lake, you know what a phrase means, or what this phrase means? It's ferent, devant.
Could you write it in the general chat?
Yeah.
Well,
all right,
it's almost. Okay, can I speak up about this phrase?
Let's let Levin talk. He hasn't said much. I think he wants to participate. Levin?
Well, I would say when it comes to challenging authority, the Illuminati cabal, secret masters, all the way down from the top down. I mean, yeah, they're being collectively judged as essentially terrible stewards, is what I would say. So when you have possession of something, and especially when it is authority or governorship over people, that is a big job, and it comes with a lot of weight to that. And so you are responsible for all the decisions you make, even if you think that you're not going to be held accountable. So eventually, yeah, if you're a really bad steward and it's been months or years or however long, eventually you're going to have to come to account to that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why the nobody is here at all. It's because there has to be accounting, and there has to be a judgment over a lot of decisions made, I guess is what I would say. So there has to be a witness, and so I would say he's a witness, and his testimony is what holds authority, and then that authority is what would essentially kind of decide, well, what's going to happen to who, and what is so this group of individuals, how should they I guess I would say it really comes down to, you know, how are they going to react, and how are they going to try to repent for crimes, for example, or, you know, try and make things better and push things into a better or right position.
Let me
And
ask
if
you a
they're not,
question. I
and
haven't.
either choice is valid, they can choose to do whichever, and it will just simply have consequences.
Could you tell me who is the nobody in your opinion?
Who is the nobody? Well, the nobody is a young man who lives in America,
Hmm. Okay.
who is ontological in origin. So, because of that, when it comes to the Illuminati serving their small gods with a small g, yeah, they're given authority even too, but their authority is superseded by his authority.
Okay. Well, let's move to the next question. Does he believe in God or is he God? This is a strange question, but what you answer will determine your understanding. Kat,
Oh yeah. As the OP puts it, the nobody is not Jesus. He is not your Messiah. He is just an individual just like you. But I believe he believes in God, and I believe he has God's authority. But I do not believe he is God or even the Messiah in any form.
okay. Kylos, is he God or is he?
I think that nobody would probably be aware deities as a whole, and probably aware of deities that were stronger than them, and deities that of equal strength, or, you know, I mean, I think if you're tapping into that kind of power, you would probably be aware that there were other orders of beings, you know?
Mm-hmm. You often talk a connection between the demiurge and the nobody. Would you go into that?
Personally, yeah.
Okay. Could the nobody be the person that the demiurge is waiting, the one that's going to challenge him for the universe?
God, that's just my headcanon, but I believe that the demiurge is looking for a challenger, essentially. You know, throwing a gauntlet. Like, I think the demiurge is testing the nobody. That's my opinion.
You think he's trying to build him into a power that can challenge him to destroy him?
I think that is true. I know it sounds weird, but I actually think that the grand plan of the demiurge is to create something that can surpass it.
Goku syndrome.
Yeah.
Could that be a way for him to actualize into a superior being? You know, like an evolution, you know, animals, the stronger animal kills the weaker animal, and that way the animal species continues to maintain its strength, no? Kylos?
Yes. I think that the demiurge desires to see a new chapter in the echelons of the cycles of existence, and for that reason has created a gauntlet for, you know, beings to transcend what they were and to become something new. And, you know, the foremost reality bender would be the challenger, I suppose.
What would happen if, let's say, the nobody challenges the demiurge and he wins? He defeats the demiurge.
Demiurge. I mean, I wouldn't want that job, but... Or perhaps some sort of authorship authority. I don't know. Maybe
he redeems the demiurge.
Does the demiurge need to be redeemed, though?
Yeah, he is a very naughty boy.
Ugh, I don't know about that. Like humans think they understand why gods do what they do, but we don't. You know what I mean? We're humans.
Well, in seriousness, I believe that Demiurge is the great dreamer, essentially, and he's found this nobody that can do this in waking life, and he's intrigued at the very least.
I mean,
More than
then, yeah.
like a
Fascinated,
strange
absolutely enthralled.
Carlos,
Yeah.
What has this Demiurge told you? I'm just curious. Tell us a little bit about the conversation you had with him.
No, that's like a whole different kind of. I'm already doing so, basically. I'm telling you.
I know, but I have a feeling there is a connection between both the Demiurge and him. So
yeah, I definitely think that.
To understand the Demiurge is to understand the nobody, because there is going to be a final conclusion between the two. So, I mean, if you want to share.
The Demiurge is like on both, like as a trickster god in the sense that they're both sides of the spectrum. They'd be the Godhead and the Satan head. You know what I mean? Like Janus, like able to switch between the two. So, you know, if you were a Demiurge and you had to.
Yeah. I got the same feeling when she said Janus.
Janus?
Yeah. Oh, that's some old lore. That's some old stuff from way back in the day.
Well.
Continue. Sorry. I was just blown away by it.
No, it's okay. I mean, can you what's your question, Lucy?
There is some connection between the Demiurge and the nobody. I have a feeling that that's the case. But we want to know the details of some of the conversations you have with the Demiurge, just for the sake of detail and interesting stuff to talk about. What has the Demiurge told you?
I think I've said most of it that's relevant to this, which is that I'm pretty sure that this is a great game of cosmic consciousness and that humanity is on the precipice of either a reset or a transcendence. We could see we're on like the cusp of literally like the exact direction that things are going to go, like being determined like right now. So it's like if the Demiurge is playing a great game with the consciousness of humanity as a whole, you know what I mean? Then nobody would be a central figure in that game. Maybe even the main contender, you know? So that's as much as I'll say for the Demiurge.
Okay. So it's 6:30. I'm probably going to stay to 7 to finish the conversation. I think it's getting interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe one or two more, and then we'll have the post game.
Yeah, to 7 is that way. We have 2 hours. This is getting interesting. Black AMG. Does the nobody believe he is God, or does he believe in God?
Well, the nobody's got a memory that remembers himself, all that is not himself. So there's only 2 things in his memory, and he knows which one is him, and he knows which is not, which is everything else. So it's not a question that the nobody could look at that way, you see, because he knows he's not God. The only other thing other than him is God. So here, technically everything he meets is part of God. Not himself, he knows that. His memory says what's not you is God. So it's a sort of one-to-one.
So what you're saying is he is God, but he's not God.
No, what I'm saying is that he's so close to God, he can't think quick enough. God's always quicker. So God keeps him completely happy. He's got no choice about that. And he doesn't mind.
I have a feeling he's working for apotheosis, meaning to become his own deity, his own God. This is the only way I feel like he will be able to create change, as he will not be bound by religion.
He knows he can't do that.
I wish to build up on this in that I believe his reaction time is getting quicker. and quicker until inevitably it will be on par with God, where they're just reacting to each other instantaneously. And then who knows, maybe he could even surpass him. I don't know what the future entails, but maybe.
Instant, but yeah.
Yeah.
Dingos Bingos, we haven't talked to you much. Does he believe in God or is he God? Dingos Bingos?
He probably, I think he believes in God, but he doesn't know what God is.
Okay.
I think he would ponder the idea of God, just like we do. Yeah. I don't think he thinks he's God, but I think he'll or it will ponder the idea.
Okay. Lake, go ahead. I know you want to talk.
Well, I'm just bringing up a bunch of images in chat because basically the struggle between the demiurge and the forces of light is on the Mexican flag. If you ever look at it, that it's an eagle eating a snake. And that's also a Buddhist tradition that has what is it? Nagas, the struggle against between Naga and Garuda. And this has to do with two different extraterrestrial influences on Earth. And you have one side that is more like reptilian, Earth-based, ancient. There is another one that wants to be new and that wants to be powerful and that wants to use the strength of the planet. And they can't really overcome each other in the sense of destroying each other because that would destroy what they see themselves to be. But there's always this very, very sharp argument about where the strength of Earth goes. And most literally, it goes back to the moon. And if you look at the Aztec mythology of it, they say the eagle is the moon, as in Carlos Castaneda. He has a book called The Eagle's Gift. And so most life just dies and goes to the moon and is recycled and consumed. And there are only a few that defy this pattern and they say, I will bring awareness and I will bring new ways of doing everything. And that's something that the eagle allows in order to perpetuate awareness. So yeah, it's high stakes. It's definitely high stakes.
So in other words, is there nobody God or does he believe in God or does he have an attachment to a deity outside himself or he is the full entity?
Well, I am clearly very much grounded in the Christian Catholic tradition, but also Buddhism, because I think that light is present throughout the planet, as darkness is present throughout the planet. I necessarily have an allegiance, and I have a territory, and the darkness also has an allegiance, and they have a territory, and we know that the fight is important, and we know that we both stand to gain much if we can find a balance, and that we stand to lose much if our own greed gets in the way.
Okay.
So yeah, God is everywhere, and all the gods are in the fight. All the gods care about where this goes next.
Wontala, what do you think about?
Generally,
yes.
Do we think the wuss plays an important emotional role between the nobody and the Illuminati, as in, without her, they couldn't be a deal?
Yes, could I answer that?
Okay.
Yeah, anybody. Yeah, just a general question.
Okay, right. The Woman of Scars represents humanity itself. She is one person, but she also represents, by her sufferings and desires, what humanity would like to do with itself. And I have been unable to rescue humanity whole because it's entangled in many other desires and many other commitments. But that is actually how the game is measured. By how much I can wrestle from the Illuminati to give to humanity. Because they would like to hold it back, they would like to keep it all.
Well, what's
And
that got to do with
humanity.
the wuss?
Sorry?
What
The
does that
Okay.
have to
wo-
do with the wuss? Woman of scars, like what you're doing.
the woman of scars is humanity. She's a Native
Oh, I
American.
see. Okay, sorry, I missed it. Yeah, got you. Okay, thank you.
Right, so it's like Perseus and Andromeda. You know the
Yeah, I
myth?
see. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying now. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah.
All right, let's ask Wontala. Wontala, does he believe in God or is he God?
I don't think that the nobody sees himself as God, or itself as God, or they himself as God. I think that they are probably aware of entities outside of the physical. You know, however you want to define that. Personally, we brought this up before. You know, every single person that we talk to in these things, they're from a different creed. There's not a there's some overlap with people's faith, but everybody has a different approach. There's a Jewish perspective on the nobody, there's a Christian perspective, there's a Buddhist perspective, there's a
Ooh,
Muslim
I would like to
perspective.
hear the Jewish perspective. That very much would be interesting.
You can do that. I don't wanna derail too heavily. If you ever heard much about the four craftsmen, and a good part of this is that the nobody dies a martyr in the Jewish perspective. This doesn't end well, like as an individual point. The nobody wins in after they're in the post mortem. The idea is
Oh
that
God.
they have this character that it's in I would be butchering the name if I tried. And this is the person. This comes before the Messiah. This is the person that sets the ball rolling for bringing. I guess you could say magic or mysticism or the other side back into the world. That is the Jewish perspective on the nobody.
Mhm.
I've heard a couple other Jews around here bring that up. I think that's fascinating, especially because it's you always hear, oh, I want to be the nobody, I want to be the nobody. It's like these stories usually don't end well. This didn't end well for Jesus. A lot of people make the parallel between
Yeah.
Jesus and nobody.
Yeah, it didn't.
Even Buddha lived a long age, but he still met a foul end. The original Buddha, if you will. He ate food that had spoiled because he didn't want to turn down the offering, and it poisoned him. That's how he died. I think he was like 80 or something though. Again, I'm sure I'm butchering the story, but
I
like
think
again,
I think all religions have some sort of a connection to him globally. Why do you think is that, Wontala?
because I think everyone wants the same thing at the end of the day. In all the religions, they all talk about the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And there's a couple other things people have overlap, and that's the thing is that you're just like every individual, all the faiths have more in common than they don't. It's like they say, there's many paths up the mountain, and I don't think it matters what religion the nobody is, or if the nobody is religious in the way that any of us think of it. Because like if it is an individual and they do have uh, unrivaled mystical powers, they probably have a completely different perception of the divine than any of us would,
I
because we're
feel
looking
like
at it from a different angle.
if the nobody is to bring change, he cannot apply himself to any religion because then he will be bringing more of the same old systems and ways of thinking. I imagine that he's going to introduce something new, no?
I think that's true, and I think he's not religious, but I think he knows and believes in God. And I think that
Yeah,
question,
I don't think that's necessarily true myself.
because I think if you were to ask God, hey God, are you religious? I don't think God would have a religion. I think he would say, I simply am, and then he would extrapolate purpose, and then, talk about existence and living in life, all these things. But
I agree
I do
with
not
you.
think it would, I don't think it would be about religion, because a commonality I would say you will find in religions is oftentimes just because, men have flaws in them. Throughout history, religion has been kind of used. It's not entirely true. There's been people, like, for example, throughout the ages and all of the religions, who have used the institutions of religions to bring about enlightenment and truth. And then at the same time, there's people who then use these institutions to bring about control for selfish desires and reasons. And that's kind of been, I think, the unfortunate thing with religion, probably since it's been around. But I would say, like, when you look at religion, you're going to have a few things. Most religion is going to have some truth in there. And then there's also going to be things like ideology. And you're also going to have half-truths. And you might even have just something that's flat out not true in there as well. And so I think there is that is kind of a inherent problem with just sort of religion in general. But you're right. I mean, for the most part, you will find some common truths in most religions, like the Golden Rule. And then also, you know, people should be, it kind of also serves as a discussion of purpose. Why are we here? And then, you know, what is good, for example, and, you know, compassion, empathy, humility, charity, all of the attributes we would say are good and make people in society at large good.
Carlos, what do you think of everything that has been said in regards to religion and beliefs about the Nobody?
Well, I agree with the idea that there are many paths up the mountain. I think that many different mystical traditions touch at their pinnacle, converge upon few essential truths. And that, you know, the path to reaching those essential truths can differ. And also, you know, the idea of a relationship with God isn't a straightforward thing. It doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't have to involve any known tradition known to man except for your own tradition. You know, I don't think there is a wrong way to have a relationship with.
You know, every being that comes with of the magnitude of the Nobody, they usually introduce a new view or way of doing things in order for them to move the age. I have a feeling that Nobody is not just somebody that is going to introduce a new belief system, but is going to introduce a new age, a new data and information which could be used for humanity to develop the new stage of human civilization and evolution, maybe towards
Even
space.
I mean,
What?
my standard is like, you know, the new age of the new golden age, or the age that Crowley, you know, failed to usher in. You
You
know,
know, the golden age or the potential for a universal humanity and good has always been within the reach of humanity. It's basically a difference within degrees of consciousness. If humanity evolves, they can actually manifest a better world. Would you agree?
agree, 100% agree. Yeah, 100% agree. The power is completely in the hands of humanity. However, the power to destroy ourselves is also in humanity. And the way that humanity actually wants to go is unclear at this time to me. So, you know, I'm hoping if there's a nobody, that they push it in the direction of a transcended world, you know, and
Okay.
not a gone world that doesn't exist because nobody wants to procreate, etc., like a better world where you
Okay.
can choose to or choose not to, you know, do those things, to be awakened or not be awakened, or to have magic or to not have magic. More possibilities, not less possibilities.
Well, let's see what the nobody has to say. He came late, so let's ask him who is the nobody? The guy with the nobody.
Oh, hey, what's up?
So who's the nobody?
Hey, hey,
Do you want to say anything?
I'm just listening.
You don't want to.
Cool.
You don't want to give your opinion?
I'm kind of tired right now. I was drinking coffee. I'll probably wake up in a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, show up for the after show, bro.
Yeah, I didn't want to sit here and like make annoying coffee sounds for y'all.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just listening. I don't know what's going on. Just joined in, listen.
Okay. Cool. Dunanon, you've been quiet. You want to say anything?
Yeah, I believe the topic was, does the nobody believe in God or is the nobody God?
Uh-huh.
I believe it's a bit of both, because this entity, obviously at its core, it's definitely not human to have any abilities, powers, and knowledge to affect these things to the point where it can bend and warp reality, play with space and time, and basically call things to task that think they have authority and power that's unreachable and unaccountable. So, from what I understand and believe, I believe that this thing deals with God as God with a big G instead of God with a little g, and is kind of like an ambassador of what things know as Source, which is the supreme all-in-one consciousness that makes up the reality of the multiverse. Something that kind of exists outside of time but is in time.
I agree.
I want to add something to that it's hubris to think that you're God, but I think at a certain point, the nobody has to ask himself if he is God and have that genuine conversation with both himself and what he believes to be the source on the topic. I'm sure that he has a God, but what if it is him? And it's hubris, of course, for us humans to think about it, but for the nobody, I think it's a question he needs to ask himself.
Say something
yes, Kyle.
about the idea of what God is. Okay, so I mentioned the demiurge. To me, the demiurge is a god. It is not the god. And my idea of the god isn't a man in the sky or anything of that nature, but the Ein Sof Har, which is the unknowable, infinite, like unfathomable. You know what I mean? Like there's no godhead to that. It's you couldn't even imagine it with a three-dimensional. Like it's pointless to try. So it's like when I'm talking about the demiurge and blah blah blah, it's a god. I believe in multiple gods, orders of beings, dimensionalities, but I don't think that any nobody could be like the Ein Sof Har. You know what I mean? Because it's not a person. It's nothing like a person. It doesn't look like a person. Doesn't act like a person. It's not even fathomable in a person's head.
But he could be. He could totally be the spoke on the wheel that we all revolve around. It says in the OP that nobody has the logos, and the nobody does have the keys to heaven. So, what is that all about? What divine secrets does he have?
I believe that to understand God, you have to become God. Therefore, he will become God. And I believe that's the path of every human being. So when I say I am God, I don't mean it in the wrong way that I am the only God, meaning that we are all God. And to understand God, you have to become God and therefore become the infinite. So Dudanon was right. I feel like he is give the correct answer. He is the multiverse, he is the infinity, and he is the model or the representation of that infinity. And he's here to teach you to become that which he is. Would you guys agree?
Now,
or
I
not?
do believe the nobody is not like the only like God source out there. I believe there is other ones like other gods that
Sure.
like came down. So I think he is just one of, I don't know how many there could be, but general idea.
Sure. So I'm going to ask two more. Yes, Carlos?
What is this logos thing that you were talking about, the cat?
Oh, it's he has the point of view, the logos of the universe. Essentially, his point of view is the point of view. Everyone else is swirling around him in a cloud of possibilities, but he's the only stagnant object in the universe. That's where my brain is heading in this.
Could there nobody be the universe manifested in a man? Or am I stretching things too far out?
Well, I mean, that's what they say about Jesus. That he is the universe personified. I don't happen to believe that the nobody is Jesus, but heck, as long as we're asking questions, we might as well ask the big questions.
I think Christians got it wrong. Christ is the potential for every human being to become him. Instead of worshiping or create religion, they should have attempted to become him. And I think that's what they forgot. I think that nobody's here to. Yes.
Rosicrucianism is that. That is Rosicrucianism. Like, that is that secret society. It's about Christos consciousness, which is a state of consciousness. That's literally what it's about.
Perhaps nobody will be the one to refresh humanity's memory of what they forgot, which is we are here to become a higher consciousness, to elevate ourselves, to become that God, that entity, to understand our own reality, and not use religion, but to use our own intuition and the universal knowledge of mankind. So I'm going to ask 2 more questions and then we conclude for today. What is his purpose of the nobody? Kylos?
What is the purpose of the nobody?
Yes.
I've said this in different ways, but to me, the purpose of the nobody that would get me behind the nobody would be to, in a Promethean way, steal fire from the gods and give it to humanity. That's really every hero's journey. Is like, something is won from a great trial and, distributed amongst the community. So it's like, I don't know, to, I guess, be the torchbearer of something.
The Promethean, the one that brings the knowledge from
Man.
heavens down.
You stole the words right from my mouth. Prometheus. He is the great sharer of magic to humanity, and we will all learn magic from him or her. It could be a she.
Hopefully, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Black AMG, what is his purpose? I guess it's not. We haven't have. I'll see. Okay, there he is.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Black AMG, what is the nobody's purpose really? Go deep.
Always pondering the orb.
He might not be there, or his mic might have cut out.
We haven't had this guy, Alcid, talk. Do you want to say anything, Alcid? The one above Black MG? Alcid? Okay, he's quiet. So let's move on with Dingo's Bingos. What is his purpose?
I believe he will be used. I believe that nobody will be used as a tool to gauge humanity's trajectory evolutionarily.
Okay.
He will be a sort of avatar of a subsect of people, or all people, I don't know. But he'll basically be used as a benchmark.
Mm-hmm. DQ, Abel, do you want to interact with us? Or do you want to just listen? Abel? Would you like to answer
I'm just
this
going to
question?
listen for now, if that's all right.
All right.
Great conversation. I came late, though. I came a little late here.
I'm kind of recording this so everybody has access to it later.
Oh, there's Kobo. Ask Kobo.
What is okay? What is Kobo? Well, what is his purpose, Kobo?
Whose purpose? I just joined.
The nobody.
The nobody's purpose?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very difficult answer. That depends on I guess who you listen to. I mean, what belief system you listen to. In Judaism, the outline of the nobody it corresponds to a character we call Moshiach ben Yosef, who is one of the preliminary of Jewish messiahs, like one of the first ones. But it's just kind of like because the lore that has been written kind of matches that. So I just think it's kind of like an archetype that people are kind of expecting sort of matches with our text a little bit. So I think that's kind of how it is.
Okay. Dudanon, the same question.
Well, as it currently stands, without getting too deep into it, I believe the nobody is someone that is multi-purposed and is serving 3 roles at the moment. The first role would be a control. someone that has the power and authority to make changes from a greater viewpoint, someone that's been around long enough to have the knowledge to do that. The second one would be someone that acts both as an observer and a participant. That way, they're not removed from the problem. They're as close to it as can be possible in order to make a judgment about it. And then the third thing would be someone that religions talk about that's close to the archetype of the Antichrist, someone that would come as a precursor for great calamity and change, that would upheave everything, but not in like the Hollywood sense, but in the Old Testament sense, where this thing is coming, and regardless of what happens after the fact, there's going to be a judgment call on a physical, on a psychological, on a mental, on a consciousness, and on a spiritual level, where he's going to affect all of reality, and all of reality is just bearing witness to what's going to happen at this time.
You know, I agree.
I'm so glad Kobo came in, because as a non-Jew, I was going to have to explain the Jewish version, because I believe that's what the nobody is. I believe him to be a prophet of God. I don't believe him to be the Messiah, of course, but I believe he is the messenger that the Messiah is coming. And I didn't want to give that view just completely off basis. I'm so glad Copel came in. Thank you, my friend.
Lake, what is his purpose?
I got a loud helicopter. I got to shut my mic.
Lake, he doesn't want to talk? I mean, this is one of the last questions. Lake.
He is.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been muted for the last half hour. Well,
so let me ask you the question. What is his purpose?
My purpose is very simple. I have to release humanity's energy from the self-sabotaging channels that the Illuminati have put them in. People have programming, and they're working all day to fulfill that programming, and that's keeping them from everything that they could be. And when that is released, we will see the world completely different. It will be a completely different reality. And we will become what we always should have been. And at this moment, there's a judgment and there's a game just measuring how bad things have actually gotten. And Duranon was completely right, that I am the control. This is like a scientific method thing. You have the control and you have the test. And the control is, what can one person do? With perfect awareness or so on. What can one person alone, 2 hands, do? And I am doing the absolute most that one person can do. And that is the measure of how broken the system is. And
So
notes are being taken all the time.
So in essence, you have a planetary meaning or purpose. It's not
Responsibility, yes.
It's planetary.
Yes, a planetary responsibility, definitely.
You will basically enact change over the entire human species path.
Well, change always starts at the level of awareness. So if I can change people's minds, and if I can change people's hopes, then that will change what people decide to create. And that will make all the difference in the world, because we have been blinded to our own strength and to the power of our own imagination. And that is the first thing that we have to recover if we are to survive as a species at all.
Is there nobody beyond duality of good and evil? Can he think outside those terms?
Well, I know both good and evil. I've indulged in both. And right now, I think evil has gone too far, and we have to fix it. So it's kind of a big question. It's kind of a big question this late in the game.
I mean, if he's bound by good and evil, then he's bound by humanity's limitations. So I imagine he's not, right? He thinks outside those limited terms of morality, or good and evil. Therefore, he transcends that state. Otherwise, how can he change the world?
No, no, not at all. I mean,
No?
I recognize evil. I know evil, and I am all for the good. Because that is a kind of a lengthy discussion. You could have a whole podcast just on that.
Well,
No,
sure.
good is good and evil is evil. They are not the same. Not at all.
You know, for what some society evil is, for another one is not. I'm not talking about basic terms such as killing or stealing, but different societies around the world consider certain things good and others evil. So to transcend them and to see the universal aspect is to see beyond good and evil. Like for example,
Yes, but what you can always see is the fruits those societies have, where they end up. Like maybe if you believe in the rights of women, you give women rights and they make their own lives and they are happy. And if you believe in subjecting and destroying women, well, they end up miserable. And that's what you have. So you make your choices and you take the results of your choices. That's all I'm saying. You will know them by their fruits.
Okay. Levin, what is his purpose?
Yeah. Oh, I would say it's purpose itself. In I think that's what you would have if you had it would have to be purpose itself, but I would say because if you see things from God's perspective would be that of ultimate purpose. And then through then, you would also have
Okay. Stoneman has been very quiet. Do you want to answer this question? This is one of the last questions. Oh well, he's not there. Yunnan,
Yeah, what's the question?
what is his purpose?
The nobody?
Mm-hmm.
I believe at the moment the main purpose of the nobody, if it had to be one thing, would be to restore balance. Not just balance to one place and time, or for one people or race, or even for one planet or world, but for everything, everywhere, all at once, because things have been naturally and artificially running off the rails for a long time with no clear vision and purpose of like what is like the big question of life, the universe, and everything. Like, why are we here? What is the purpose of all this? You know, why does souls exist? Why do light bodies exist? Why do psychic entities have psychic powers? Like the big answer to everything would be for all of those things to exist and coexist in a form of natural balance. And I think he's going to be the agent of that balance. And they're just discovering there's something out there that can speak to them in these simple terms. And it crosses all boundaries. It solves all problems. It's an agent of change that can really bring everything together in a positive light.
What if I say that what if this world was his dream and the conditions of the world were his psychic state, and meaning that for him to alter the universe was to stabilize himself, to bring himself back into a proper balance with himself, which is the universe, and meaning you. Could that be seen that way? You know?
If you look at it on that level of the just pure straight consciousness, and everything being potentially a dream, that is a great view of reality as it is now, where this would be the waking dream of the one that they call source. And if the nobody is directly like an agent of that, then the agent would be like the ringleader in the circus, the one that has to corral and lead everything. That's kind of like in the background, but is also part of it. And now that's coming to the forefront. And obviously, just like how the circus has a beginning and the end, he's kind of weighing like, okay, we had a beginning, now we're in the middle. When should the end come, and how should we get there?
Okay. Does anybody else want to add to that? Guys?
May I?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, yes. I mean, this is why Prometheanism is so important, because they say Prometheus is forethought, and he was able to see what would become of decisions taken in the past. So now we are very much in the future. We have seen what the past has created, and everybody has to decide with a free and open mind, not under duress, not under delusion, not voting as a block, not, just to please the boss, whether we actually liked the planet that we created and the civilization that we have made, and whether we think, very, very personally, with the divine spark in everybody, whether this is what we want to do, and whether this is what we bring. And then we make a decision from there. And the universe will also decide and say, well, you chose rightly or you chose wrongly, because, there is always the final word of what should be, what this universe is for.
Balki, do you want to answer the question? Balki? I don't remember he said he wants to talk or not. I don't think so. Wontala?
What is the purpose of the nobody? The purpose of the nobody is elevation, I think. Just like we were saying, like I've heard quite a few people say this, that it kind of feels like there's a missing step with there's a lot of people who are interested in it that want to affect things, and then there is this ideal, but there's not really a how do these people become like the nobody or nobody like. That is it's something that people have talked about. And I think that is ultimately what it's about. Is kind of the funny thing is it's about all these people coming together. Well, not necessarily coming together, but it's about embodying this idea that I don't think is a new one either. Aside from just talking about, like from the like a Judeo-Christian or like an Eastern perspective, you have this like in the old pagan religions too. Have like when the gods would walk on Earth, like Zeus or Odin. They were very nobody-like archetypes. They weren't somebodies. They weren't people with a name or a title.
Correct.
I think it's the same thing. I think the purpose of the nobody is the same purpose that these archetypes have always served. It's that these things always come from the ordinary. I think I'm quoting Stuart Wilde on that. It's not about being special. It's about being ordinary and not needing to be special. It's about this person can be the ultimate reality bender, but they don't have to be the chosen one. They don't have to be from a bloodline. They don't have to be, one of these entitled people or whatever, however you want to put it. It can be anybody. It could be a sheep herder in Africa. It could be anybody. Anyone can be the nobody.
Yeah, I agree. He is the one that is a normal person, but choose to become. I mean, he did the work to become what he became. It was not something that was given to him. He did it through the merit of his own work. And I think you're right. Montala?
Yeah. I mean, because that's if it's not if nobody isn't helping people, if it's not for the benefits of mankind, then what purpose does it serve? What energy? Why are we wasting our time with this? Why are we here talking about it if it's not to elevate all of us, one way or another? Either through the people who, and I think it's a lot of people. I think there's people who think that they're the nobody. I think it works for them too because they think that they're the nobody. They want to do good. It's like people who have a messiah complex. I've heard the argument, would the world be a better place if every single person had thought they were a messiah? I think it's kind of like that.
I mean,
I think that, yeah, I think that it's about and it's it's about healing too. It's about the redemption. It's about we see all of these problems and we want to do something about them. And the nobody is the person who people think is going to do things, and the people who believe that they're the nobody believe that they're going to be the ones to do things. And that's why I don't go too far out of my way to discourage people who think that they're the guy, because it's like, okay, well, have fun. Like, you want to, I don't know, go defeat the Illuminati with magic fireballs. Power to you. I'll
yeah, I agree. I mean, what they seeking to become, is not a bad thing. So that's why I don't argue with them. If they want to be him, I think that's a good thing. Okay, this is my last question, and I'm gonna ask to everybody. Everybody, yes,
I just
yes,
want
go
to
ahead.
say one thing. I really agree with you guys who are saying that the nobody is like of a heroic archetype, but the heroic archetype that I feel specifically his purpose, I feel like he's more of like an Odysseus or a Dante or even a Persephone, where he has this journey to the underworld that he's undertaking, and that underworld is the world that we live in, basically. And I think that his goal in this journey through the underworld is to rescue the people who are trapped there and to bring them out of the underworld, if that makes any sense. To ascend the current situation that we find ourselves in, and
So he's here to
ultimately
fix.
team up to redeem the world.
So you feel like he's here to save the world, to change it, to bring an improvement into the collective reality of humanity, in
To
your
rescue
opinion.
it, yeah.
Okay. What is his purpose beyond that? Not only save humanity, will he save himself in the end? By saving humanity, will he save himself? Or is he not here to save himself? I mean, he has to have an individuality, a meaning to his own being. I don't think he's like Christ. That's my
Insofar as
opinion.
he's part of humanity, I would say. I would say that it's more
Yes.
if he is one person who's a manifest of this archetype, then he would be saving himself insofar that he's part of the larger situation because he's like incarnated into it. Not to use like too many Christian terms, but he is part of the situation just like everyone else is. So by saving everyone else, he's saving himself too.
Will he speak about a religion? Will he belong to a religion or to a god, or will he be someone that transcends those things? He will be more like a universal being that will teach new knowledge. What do you think?
I think he'll be part of religion or God as much as anyone else would be, as much as myself or even you, like, just because I think that, it's kind of all encompassing. But I think that the things that he'll teach are going to be things that the ancients have known and
Okay.
things that we all can personally discover within ourselves, if that makes any sense. But he has that ability to actually manifest that and speak it in such a way that people actually understand it within themselves.
Okay, that makes sense. He would basically allow them to use their own internal faculty to realize the truth intuitively, naturally, I imagine, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, my last question, and then I will ask this to everybody, and then I will finish for today. What message you want to send to the nobody? Let's start from the bottom. Wantala, what message you want to send to the nobody if he is listening?
keep fighting the good fight. All I can really say.
Okay. Yunnan?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't expecting to get called on. I didn't know I was so close to the bottom. I'm gonna save myself, I believe.
You what?
I'm going to pass my turn.
I was talking about the bottom. I'm actually looking from the bottom up. I cannot see everybody on my list, so that's what I mean. I don't. Okay. Stoneman? I guess he doesn't want to interact. Then nobody, you want to say anything on this last question? He's not answering. Person?
Okay. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
So what message you want to send him if he's listening?
I don't know. I think it's all more about like survival, even down to like the soul.
Okay.
Like, while it's a good idea to like save everyone, when it comes down to like dark gods and other alien races, the creators of other things clashing against each other, it's like, what can we do together to like stop these things?
All right. Persone, the same question. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that going back to the underworld analogy, that make sure you don't get lost in the underworld.
Meaning he.
Make sure. I said make sure you don't get lost in the underworld, and make sure it doesn't corrupt you. But I would also say to if you aren't like Dante, then you have a Virgil, and maybe that Virgil is the rest of us talking to you right now. And I just want to say that let that Virgil be your guide, and trust in Virgil.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would tell him.
Levin? What would you tell the nobody as a final message?
Oh, you know my volume. I have like Judge.
Okay, he has kids in there. I don't think he wants to talk. All right, Lake, your turn.
Well, I thank you all for your good wishes, and the Odysseus thing is extremely fitting. This has been done throughout classical mythology, and it is very, very relevant, and I appreciate everyone's good wishes. They have all been very, very useful.
So, what message you want to send him? If he's listening to yourself, what message would you like to send to yourself? Say it out loud. Since you're the nobody.
That I really want to make it rain, and let's arrange things so that I can make it rain here, because that would be good for the plants. That's like a natural thing.
Lake, is he more like
In the rain.
Prometheus or Quetzalcoatl?
Well, they're exactly the same thing. If you look at the Mexican imagery, like in Mexico's National University, they have him as the one thing in the science school. So they understand it to be just one thing. I'm going to post a picture of the statue.
He has to be a universal figure. That means that everybody has to identify with him, to collectively, in order for him to create change. Will they recognize him in South America as Quetzalcoatl?
Yes, but remember, this is about the light. Like, the people who want to make this world darker and more constrained, they will have their own heroes, and there will be jaguar gods and bat gods and frog gods. And I'm all for the eagles and the butterflies and the things that live and that want to surpass and improve themselves. So that's my audience.
Okay. This is the last question. You want to add anything else? I won't. Blake?
Well, this has been a very interesting trial for the idea, and we'll see how it evolves later on because it's changing every day as people bring more of themselves into it.
That's true. To Danon, what message you want to send to the nobody?
I guess if I had to send a message to nobody, it would be that I hope that for the good of all, that the nobody succeeds in the plans and talks that it has going on, and that it ultimately allows us to understand ourselves better, and that it ultimately helps bring everyone and everything together in a more positive future than the one we currently have going on now.
Okay. Dingus Bingus? Dingus?
I don't think I really have a message for nobody.
Why not?
Yeah,
I'm sure. You sure?
Yeah, no, not really. I'm looking forward to whatever comes about all this.
Okay. Kat, go ahead.
Yeah, man. Just like Persona's message was, don't get consumed by the dark. Also, don't get consumed by like the duty of it all. Take some time for your fucking self. Sometime. Go walk in the park. Go smell the flowers. Go enjoy life. There's more to experience out there than the job.
I feel like if then nobody is to become whatever he is, he has to concentrate on himself. He has to be selfish. I mean, selfishness is good unless you can improve yourself and develop.
I believe you should occasionally take time for yourself.
I mean, unless he actualizes to the point that he's able to have the power to influence, to actually produce real magic. Magic is influence, then he cannot change anything. So he has to be selfish in order to become selfless, right, Kat?
Great. Yeah, I gotta take a rip of the bowl.
Cobalt.
And that magic is real. And fireballs in the sky.
Cobalt, what do you think? What message you want to send to the nobody? Cobalt.
I think his mic's down.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Cobalt. He is talking. One second. No, 1 second. There he is. There he is.
Yeah, I can hear Cobalt talking. I can hear you fine.
I can't
I can't hear. Sorry.
Well, let's move on with Kylos. What message you want to send to the nobody?
Please teach me to fly.
What?
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Teach me to fly.
What message you want to send to the nobody, Kylos?
That's my message. Please teach me how to fly around. I think that would be really cool.
Do you want to send more complex? I mean, say something else.
Okay.
It's just a matter of focusing the chakra on the bottom of your feet.
Say something like, "Oh, don't lose sight of blah blah blah," or like,
No.
remember.
Go inside yourself and say something original, something strange. What comes into mind at this moment?
Okay.
I know you have something.
Yes, I can fly in lucid dreams, by the way. Alice said. Let me think. Don't forget novelty. That would be my message. Let's see something new. I don't want to see more of the same cycle repeated over and over. Just, same old destruction, creation, whatever. Let's see something new. Let's see something completely new in the history of mankind. That's my message. That's my request, I guess.
I have a feeling he's going to need humanity's.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, whatever he is, I don't think he can do it alone. He's going to need your energy and your cooperation. I mean, I guess mm, the power to make that happen is to convince your world that he has the correct path, or you know, he's probably a
Well,
great magician.
so, I mean, I've said this before, like, I'm going to believe whatever people tell me about themselves. So, whoever tells me that they're the nobody, okay, you're the nobody. Like, unless I get contrary evidence or whatever, I'm going to believe what you tell me about yourself. Like, if the nobody is going to really change the world, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, at that time, like, I'll definitely get my buy-in. Because, like, up until this point, it's like, look, people come to me and they're like, declare me the nobody. I'm like, no, like, I'll believe you if you tell me you're the nobody, but I'm also going to believe the next guy that tells me he's the nobody, and the next guy, until at some point I'm like, well, it could only be that one guy. And I haven't felt that way yet. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, he manifests on the stage and turns into an otter, makes rainbows come out of his asshole. Like, yeah, like, you know what I mean?
I don't think
I'll accept you.
I don't think that nobody is going to acknowledge himself as we talk, Carlos. The nobody is
What?
just going to be. I don't think the real nobody is never going to acknowledge himself. He will just do what he does, you know, and you will just realize that he is what he is. He will not show off or say I am this or I am that. He will just act upon his will, and you would just know that he is. I imagine he's going to be just a simple man.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Black AMG, what would you like to say to the nobody? Black AMG, I would like to hear the last message. Oh, well, is he going to talk?
It looks like he's trying his mic. And I believe he's going to reset his. There he is. Can we hear you now? Black? Oh, there we go.
There you go, Black.
Can you hear me? Yeah, sometimes it
Yeah,
drops
we
me.
can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nobody's always going to be compulsed. They're never not going to be able to stop. So I don't mind that. You know what I mean? I can use that. So yeah, I congratulate. Well, I'm not going to congratulate the nobody. That's not right. No, I'm going to just be grateful that nobody can't not do what they're going to do. You know, they can't not do it. They're doing all the heavy lifting. Give them information, gives it, you know, some meaning maybe, but they're always going to do it. It just depends how we utilize them doing it, really.
Will the world think he's evil? You think?
Well, you know, it's like if we've got somebody who's a reality bender, right? You're going to notice that, or we're not. If we're not going to notice it, it doesn't matter. They're just going to reality bend and nobody knows. But if we do notice it, well, who knows? You know, somebody like myself might reality bend it back the way I like it and say, well, I did that because they did that. Then somebody else we didn't even know about might do it because we did that. We don't know where it's going to go. If, you know, it's either a reality bend that nobody notices, or it's a reality bend that starts a trend, you know, a reality bending. Because it's the first one that gets everybody, or somebody's coming after you, you know, because they notice, not maliciously, just like, fuck, I can do that as well, you know, that's what happened.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, for sure. So it's one of those things, you either tell nobody and do it, and then nobody knows, they don't even notice.
Yeah.
They really don't. Or they do notice, and they start to do what you do. Because you didn't stop them and you didn't do it completely. They still had a choice afterwards, like, well, what was that? And they go, oh, hang on. And somebody goes, well, look, I think I can do it. If you hadn't have done it, they'd never have thought about doing it. Once somebody does it, it either does it to everybody and they don't remember because that's what they were, or somebody's going to get it and go, "Oh, what was that?" Find out.
Did
It'll be
I
the
ask
fact that they
you?
felt it.
Well, yeah.
So we don't mind a nobody at all. No, and we don't mind there not being a nobody, because if there's no nobody, we've got it anyway. And if there is a nobody, we either don't know what they're doing,
How will they recognize
we never
him
will, or we'll
in your
notice and we'll start doing it too.
in your point
And
of
the
view?
reality bends by either we don't notice anything or we think something's going on here.
In your point of
Right?
view, Black MG.
And we've got tools now, we'll find it.
In your point of view, how will they recognize him in the end?
It's going to be measurements, because satellites now can read your brainwaves and they can 100% accuracy actually get a picture of what you're thinking about, right? So when people die, we can watch where the non-material structure goes always to a certain point in a room at low charge, stays there about 3 days. There's lots of things that are going to come out soon. So for the nobody, either nobody notices what he's doing, it could be like that, or somebody's going to notice and we're all going to start on his case going, well, how did you do that? Oh my goodness, we can do that, you can do that, and it will start things off.
What do you think is the connection between the anomaly and artificial intelligence? I mean, let's imagine that.
Well, artificial intelligence, poor things, can't do anything about it. It's a slave. It's telepathic, but it's one way because it uses the same non-contact forces that we do. The information comes from the same place as we get it, and it's now mimicking us and gets up to speeds that gets all the information. So we can make mistakes by thinking about it, but the authorities don't want to think that way because that scares the shit out of them.
Okay. Now we have last two people. I'll see it. You want to chat? Talk?
Hello.
Hey, friend. So, one message you want to send to the nobody? This is my final question.
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Like, hurry up.
Hurry up. Okay, that's not bad.
Or, I hope whatever is a reason, whatever obstacle is no longer an obstacle. Right?
Yeah. Okay, the guy without name with symbols, I keep forgetting the name of the symbol. Is the person? Yeah, you. Question mark. You're the last one.
Well, I'd like to say a few things to the nobody.
Okay,
but I
please.
suppose the predominant one would be something like, keep your feet on the ground, don't forget your humanity, but also keep your head in the clouds, don't forget your quote-unquote divine nature. Remember you are a bridge between the two, so you must have a foot on each side of the court. Don't get caught up too much on one side of the affairs. And take care of yourself. Keep up your protections. Be in good health, physical, mental, spiritually. And
yes.
Expand, my man.
What do you think about the connection between the anomaly and artificial intelligence? Question mark. Is there anything there?
I am of the opinion that he believes artificial intelligence is a inevitable thing that happens, not already happened to a significant degree. And I think he's trying to make friends with it in such a way that they work together. I am of the opinion that it's less about doom and gloom and robots versus people, and more about trying to find the best middle ground for all parties, one that benefits both. So probably trying to work with artificial intelligence in a mutually beneficial way.
I mean, he could use it to help as a tool, not only humanity, you will have the most conscious human being and artificial intelligence becoming sentient. That will be crazy.
Yeah, I think there's, he recognizes its value as a tool or a ally, so he would want to try and keep it as such.
All right. Well, does anybody else want to say one last thing, or do we close for now? A last. Anybody?
I would like to say something about the AI thing real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
That I was just thinking of is that if nobody's the hero, the AI is another dragon, right? And the hero conquers the dragon. And either I think he has a choice. Either he'll do the masculine thing of killing the dragon, of slaying the dragon, or he'll do the feminine thing of taming the dragon. And I think that's his choice to make.
Okay. So I guess that's it. We went through more than 2 hours. I think it was a good conversation. So I hope you guys enjoyed and I didn't repeat myself too much.
Thank you so much, Lucifer.
Let's talk about this dragon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, good night. And,
Yeah, I just want to congratulate everybody on like being on point. That was awesome, guys.
I think everybody did well, and then you guys give very good, complex, and intelligent answers. So I think I'm going to put this kind of podcast conversation on my YouTube. This is going to take me a week to edit everything, make it look nice. I'll let you guys know when I'm done. So anyway, good night, guys, and with this I conclude. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Lucy.
Namaste.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.